Hi everyone, my name's Lisa and I'm the Volunteer and Support Officer for Action Together and I'm based in Tameside. Today we are joined by Claire Webber, the Project Manager from Pcrefurb charity and the Digital Wellbeing Project. Hi Claire, thanks for joining us. Claire's joined us today to talk about the charity, the work they do and the projects and who that project's aimed at and how you can support them as a volunteer. So, hi Claire, can you tell us a little bit more about Pcrefurb and the Digital Wellbeing Project?
I can, yeah. So hi Lisa, hello everybody. So Pcrefurb has been established for a few years now, and what the charity does is it collects in donated pieces of IT equipment. It could be phones, tablets, laptops, desktop systems, etc. And they have an amazing team of refurbishing volunteers that then work with those pieces of equipment, get them up and running and in top tip shape, and hand them out to people that need them. That the referrals come in, so it can be from individuals, it could be to other charities, education groups, it can be, quite far afield. So they've been doing that for a number of years, and last year they were approached by the Tameside and Glossop ICFT. So they're the Integrated Care Foundation Trust who look after Tameside Hospital, for example, and look after the NHS services in the community. And they were asked that alongside giving equipment out, could they add in digital skills training as well. So that's when the Digital Wellbeing Project was born back in September last year. And at the very, very heart of that project is our need for digital champions, hence us being here today having this chat. So clients are referred into the project and they need that sort of basic introduction to all things digital, all things online. And that could be things like using Zoom, like we're doing now. It could be ordering prescriptions online, booking a restaurant table online, watching daft cat videos on YouTube. It can be everything that we do just without thinking on the internet. There are people out there who don't have that access and don't know that that world exists. So it's just really helping them build their confidence to use online services and just showing them things, really.
The things we take for granted, really, isn't it? It's not about being an IT genius. It's the things that we do every single day without, like you say, without thinking, that there are people out there that don't possess those basic skills, and it's causing isolation, loneliness.
I mean, I think especially in relation to COVID, we've seen a lot of services, a lot of social services, a lot of support groups that moved online, understandably. And we sort of maybe forget that not everyone has got a device or the internet or that confidence to use online. So we're just trying to get through as many of those people and help them as we can. And now things are sort of coming back to normal a little. Some services have decided to remain online or to offer like a hybrid of services online. So we need to make sure that everybody can access things like that for their own health and well-being.
Yeah, exactly. So if somebody wanted to utilize the service and become a client of the project, how would they go about that?
Okay, so currently we have a few referral routes, and you need to be referred in via a third party on the whole. And we use the wonderful social prescribing services in Tameside, which is by Action Together, and we use the social community navigators at the Bureau. And they refer clients in on a fairly regular basis. We also are due to start working with the community mental health team. So there's quite a few different referral services that are going to be using the service as well from that route. And people can refer in, self-referring as well. But we just have to manage capacity because obviously because of COVID, we weren't allowed to do in-person training with people. So we do have somewhat of a waiting list. And as long as people are sort of understand that we've got the green light, we're just working through that.
Exactly, and you need lots of volunteers as well with all these people. So that moving on nicely to the volunteer opportunity. So what's involved in that?
Okay, so we are looking for volunteers to become our digital champions. And I really don't want people to be put off by that in the sense of thinking they have to be an IT expert. You don't at all. If you use a smartphone, a tablet, a laptop, or a desktop in your everyday life, social media, Zoom calls, YouTube, Google, if you can do things like that, then you would be absolutely perfect to become a digital champion. The only thing, the biggest thing that we ask for is that you show patience. You have some patience. We know what it's like when we're trying to teach people skills. You might have to repeat yourself, show the same thing over and over, etc. So we just need people to be patient and enthusiastic. There is a very small administrative element to the role, which would be we'd like you to register on our volunteer platform and log your sessions with a client once they're completed. Just a very short form on how you found the session, how the client interacted, and did the client improve their skills, just for our reporting, obviously. But apart from that, it's being a people person, getting together with people, and just showing what you do online to them.
Yeah, so we're not talking, recoding a PC, or I don't even know if that's a thing.
No, if super duper mathematical equations on Excel are your thing, and we have a client that asks for that, brilliant. But on the whole, we're an introductory level digital service.
Yeah, I want to say for people that are looking for basic skills, and they're not going to be at the stage where they're looking to do Excel spreadsheets.
No.
I've still not figured out how to do spreadsheets, but I've never needed to do,
Yeah.
But the stuff that gets you by every day, like you say, online shopping, looking online, and fulfilling a hobby.
Exactly, and things like looking for a job, looking for employment opportunities, education opportunities. We can sort of give someone the skills on how to do that and fill online forms in and look at PDFs and things like that. Yeah. And then if you wanted to then go on and do qualifications in English and maths and whatnot, we can signpost them on to adult education services where they can use those newfound digital skills and then go on to do things that are a bit more in-depth education wise. So the client base ranges from, like I say, people that, who've never touched a device before to people who then say, I'd like to do my banking online. I'd like to put my CV together. So it's a real gambit of people that are referred into us.
I mean, we're talking mobile phones here, aren't we? Smartphones as well, sending a text message, sending an email.
Yeah, exactly. WhatsApp, downloading apps, downloading things like the NHS app so that you can book your GP appointment online or do prescriptions online. So sometimes it's really hard to think of what we do because we would do these things just as part of our everyday lives. I did compile a massive list of all sorts of things that we could do with clients, and I just couldn't stop typing. There was that many things to include. So Google Maps, YouTube.
But it's like we said, it's things you take for granted, so they wouldn't necessarily pop into straight away because you're thinking, well, that's easy, I can do that.
Exactly.
So yeah, I mean, it's always worth having a conversation. I'm available, or you could speak to Claire and talk to us about your skills. When you register to volunteer, I do submit your information through the Pcrefurb volunteer portal, and one of the questions is what are your digital skills, and you can list as many things as you want, or things that you'd be comfortable showing another person. Nothing too small there, and the list is pretty much endless. But yeah, have a chat with us, and don't think that you've got to be an expert in social media. And know how to set groups up. And
what is a hashtag? I'm still not sure. I use them.
Well, yeah. So it's a very good question because for Facebook, a hashtag is completely different to the hashtag on Twitter, which I actually only discovered not that long ago. I thought it was the same thing. But yeah, I mean, if you ask a question and we don't, and your volunteer doesn't know, they can find out. It's a learning experience for them as well.
It creates a really nice environment when you perhaps sat with someone who says, oh, I'd like to look at whatever. and the volunteer, the digital champion, says, you know what, I've actually never done that, but let's learn together. You know, we all know that Google is our friend, and we could Google it together, look at YouTube tutorials on how to do things. And I think that creates a lovely relationship between the volunteer and the client, where we say, well, we're not experts, we're just someone, we want to hold your hand and build your confidence and show you. So
it's very rewarding. You know, you'll help other people, but you'll learn yourself.
Absolutely.
Volunteering looks great on your CV.
Oh yeah, very much so. And we're a great team. The network is really growing as well. So when we're allowed, we'd like to do sort of in-person events to celebrate our volunteers, celebrate achievements and socialise. We do have a volunteer Facebook group, a digital champion group, where volunteers sort of ask each other questions and get to know one another. So the whole volunteering experience is a really enriching one as well for the volunteers, not just for the clients.
Absolutely. So I mean, training for the volunteers before they start, what sort of training do you offer?
Okay, so we asked volunteers to attend an induction training session, which is currently on Zoom, and it seems to work well on Zoom, even when we can meet together in groups. I think doing it via Zoom for a digital role is a really good thing. So it's an hour and a half to 2 hours long. And it's really looking at the fundamentals of being a volunteer. So we go through things like the important topics of safeguarding, equality, diversity and inclusion, you know, the sort of lone working policies and things like that, data protection, confidentiality. We cover all those bases because we can't expect that people have volunteered in other roles before. And then we go on to show volunteers how this role will work. So we show them the online platform that we use with clients called Learn My Way. We show them how to use that and all the courses and resources and materials that they can access through that. And then we spend quite a lot of time going through the next steps. So it's how to register on our volunteer platform, the DBS requirement, creating a Google email address so they can use our shared calendar. We just sort of go through the whole role. So far, so good. At the end of the sessions, we seem to have covered every question that the volunteers have. On that note, I'm really, really accessible. You can get hold of me most times, you know, social media groups and texts and emails, and phone me up. And if you do have any questions or any concerns or anything that I've not thought about that you have, I'm really accessible for volunteers to sort of come and ask me things as well.
That's good to know. That's good to know. So for anybody that is interested in becoming a digital champion, you can have a look on the Action Together website, and there's more information about this role on there. Or you can contact me, and I can send you all the details, and then I can register you through the Pcrefurb volunteer portal. We can do that together, and then following from that, Claire will get in contact with you and start the next steps, which is what can people expect once they've registered?
So once the registrations have come through to us, I'll obviously sort of get in touch and say hello and, you know, thank you for your interest. Do you have any questions at this stage? And then when I've got like a healthy number together, so maybe 4, 5, 6 volunteers, which is a really nice number for the training, I will put some options of whether people would like during the day session, or they might prefer an evening session if they're at work, and we'll do the session. And then really I send them that next steps email of the next step they need to do. But really we sort of in that waiting period for the DBS certificate to come through. Obviously we can't do any training without that certificate, so we have a few weeks after the training where that's sort of all happening, and then we have this mountain of waiting list clients that we will match volunteers with. I know it's because COVID stopped us, it's got quite big, so we will match you with a client. We'll look at where you live, where the client lives, where a community venue is available. We'll take in consideration as much as we can to make a good match. Like we try not to put die-hard United fans with die-hard City fans. That's never going to work, is it? No. So yeah, and we'll just double check that you're happy with what the client's needs are, and that, like I say, if they need complicated Excel formulations, we wouldn't ask you if you're not comfortable with that. And then we match you with the client. We do that on our volunteer platform, get all the details, and then it's up to you to chat with that client, make a convenient appointment, and off you go, really.
So it's when it suits you and the person that you're working with, isn't it?
Absolutely, yeah. And on that note, if people only have 1 hour a week to give, that is brilliant. If you can only give 1 hour, that's one person that'll be trained every week.
That was my next question.
Oh, was it? Yeah, don't worry if you've not got 10 hours a week to give. It's just whatever you can give, it would be so helpful.
So even if it's just 1 hour, that would benefit somebody. How long would a volunteer work with a client? Is there a time frame?
Yes and no, really. I mean, a lot of our clients, majority, have said they'd like to be able to connect with family, friends in the community. So obviously that is things like via Zoom, FaceTime, looking at things like that, like at social media, emailing. And that can kind of be done. It sometimes with a certain client can be done in one session. It might take a couple of sessions. But then we have the clients that I mentioned earlier that might want to say, look, I'd like to learn online banking or online shopping. And we do start every session with online safety. So depending how fast the client sort of works through that and grasps the rudimentals of that, that depends on how many sessions they might need. But it certainly can be done in one session, or you might work with someone for 4 or 5 sessions. It's really up for the volunteer to judge that process.
And then they could work with somebody different once they've finished, maybe.
Absolutely, yeah.
And or depending
on volunteers to if volunteers themselves need a break or need some time out, or they're going through something in life like a extra workload or issues with children or whatever it might be, more than happy for volunteers to take a break. Just chat with us, let us know if you're in the middle of working with a client, and we'll sort of facilitate our way through that. But there's no pressure on volunteers. It's not like a job where you must turn up at such a time and you will do this. It's a real collaboration of teamwork and a lovely atmosphere that we create for volunteers.
Sounds good. Sounds brilliant. So obviously not able to do home visits just yet. Not too far in the future, hopefully. So what's the plan then?
Okay, so
connect the volunteers.
Ideally is home visits. A lot of clients, we get some of the older folks that don't want to travel. We get folks that are disabled, etc. So home visits are always like the creme de la creme of what we would offer. Also, because it's digital, we would like to work with the client's device, make sure that they are getting onto their internet connection okay, etc. So home visits, when they're allowed, will be brilliant. I can't wait for that. But in the meantime, we have been given the use of a few community venues in Tameside and Glossop. Your wonderful Action Together community development team are working with me on that at the minute. And they're so helpful, it's untrue. So we've got venues that are going to have Wi-Fi where clients can bring their device. We can attach them to the community venue Wi-Fi and do the training in those places. Obviously masks, hand sanitizer, ventilation. We do have a COVID risk assessment as well that volunteers are asked to read before they do any training.
Yeah, but I mean, it'll get you out of the house. You might be able to see the volunteers there.
Yep.
I mean, I can imagine it would be quite nice actually going to a community centre and working with people there. But hopefully not too far in the future for the people that are not able to go to those community centres. Visits again, because there is an element of befriending, isn't there? Keeping somebody there.
Absolutely. We say in the training, we talk about safeguarding your own self, and we say you're under no obligation whatsoever to divulge your personal circumstances and your personal details. There's no obligation to give your Facebook out, for example, or your Twitter or your email address. However, we do recognise that people will make friends. There will be sort of like a befriending mentor sort of relationship form, and volunteers may go on to say, actually, you know what, as homework, find me on Facebook and send me a message, or here's my phone number, or here's my Twitter account, whatever, and they can connect and make friends, and like I say, sort of become a bit of more of a mentor befriending relationship. And again, on that point, if a volunteer would have any worries about the client, we talk in the training about if a client shares things with you that are worrying, we don't want the volunteers to feel like they have to take those problems and situations on. you can always obviously talk to me, talk to us at Pcrefurb, and we will signpost them on to places like yourselves, you know, things like that. And there are, you know, all sorts of other services out there if clients need something a bit extra than what we offer.
I mean, that's also good to know that, you know, following a session with a client, if you want to, if a volunteer wants to be able to feed back, they feel upset, or they've got any questions or worries, that they can speak to you, they can give me a call.
Yeah, we have regular debrief sessions where we just check that our volunteers are feeling okay. They're not sort of absorbing the situation of the client, because obviously some people are in difficult situations. They might be isolated, they might share sadness, they might share bereavement issues or issues like that, you know, in everyday chatter. And we just want to make sure that volunteers don't absorb that on and don't feel responsible for that as well.
No, but I mean, it's understandable, isn't it? It's a difficult situation that we're in, and there are a lot of people that are isolated, that are vulnerable, that are lonely. So there's nothing wrong with having some sympathy for somebody. Just shows that you're a caring person, and that's why you're interested in this role in the first place. So I think you've answered all of our questions there, Claire. That's brilliant. So anybody that's watching this, if you would like to know more, if you've got any questions that we've not covered, please get in touch. If you want to express an interest in the role and be referred on so that you can start your training and your DBS, and then hopefully be matched with somebody in the not so distant future, get in touch with me, and I will the application and send it off to Claire. But yeah, this has been really helpful, really useful, Claire. So thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
Me today, and yeah, anybody that's interested, get in touch. All right, thank you.
Thanks everyone. Bye.
Bye.